4:30 on WKYT this morning, a car hit a crossing guard outside of Pulaski County School just minutes before dismissal. We have the condition of the crossing guard just ahead on WKYT this morning.
Fire has destroyed an historic Powell County building. We'll hear from the store's workers ahead.
Former Governor Steve Beshear says Governor Matt Bevin has declared war on his family. More on the Bevin-Beshear legal battle coming up this morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning, and it's so good to have you with us bright and early here on this Thursday, rolling toward the weekend. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Michelle Chamberlain, and when you step out the door this morning, it's a bit foggy outside.
It is. That's something you'll notice right off the bat. So there's a little bit of reduced visibility, and there's a reason for that. And let's check in with meteorologist Micah Harris. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, we had the rain yesterday, and look, you're getting heavy downpours out of these storms, so a lot of moisture in the air. So as that front moves through, is pushing these storms on in, you're getting the ground saturated, and sometimes you can get the clearing of the skies in between these storms, and that's what's allowing some of this fog to form. There's a big system, big complex down towards, say, Marion County and working way off to Boyle County. This is moving northeast, so Lexington heads up within the next, I'd say, hour or so. We can see these storms move on through. Down south, there it is in London, Corbin area, another complex right there, but the strongest storm system right now across US 68. Now I'm going to show you what we can expect toward the afternoon. Obviously this morning we have storms. What about the afternoon and evening? When are we getting rid of this front? I'll have that in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you. In the first edition of the news this morning, it happened just minutes before classes dismissed for the day. Investigators say a car hit a crossing guard outside of a Pulaski County school.
Yeah, and at last check, they say he's in critical condition. The car hit the man yesterday afternoon in the parking lot of Southwestern High School. WKYT's Garrett Weimer talked to people who know him.
Folks nearby had a hard time wrapping their heads around what happened outside Southwestern High School.
I don't know. What?
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is pretty crazy. I don't know about it.
Cell phone video shows the scene after the crossing guard was hit. Investigators say he was critically injured. We're told the man was flown to the hospital at the University of Tennessee. One man who graduated from the high school several years ago says he knows the crossing guard, who he says is also a custodian at the school here. He says he's a good man who's been at the school for years.
There's no way.
Brandon Mayfield's grandmother is also a custodian at the school. He says he was worried about her when he found out what happened.
When I first heard about it, I had to call her and ask her about it because I was making sure that she was okay and she wasn't ran over, you know what I'm saying? Like, you'd think a janitor at a school is one of the safest jobs you could have, but.
It was raining at the time. Investigators call it all a tragic accident. Others agree it's a tragedy.
Well, it's a shame. Sending out prayers to the family, you know. It's a shame. It's a tragedy.
In Pulaski County, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
There is no word on the man's condition at this hour. Investigators say they do not expect charges to be filed. A Lexington family woke up unexpectedly early this morning when a car hit their home. It happened at the corner of Wyndham Hills Drive and Weber Way just before 1 o'clock. Police say they believe there were 2 juvenile boys in the car, but they fled the scene on foot. They say the car was not stolen and the heavy rain most likely caused the crash. Firefighters are working to repair the damage. Now, none of the family members were injured.
A large fire has destroyed a historic Powell County building, and the fire started yesterday afternoon at the Just Plain Fancy Boutique on Main Street in downtown Stanton. Workers at the business say people passing by rushed over to help them. WKYT's Monique Blair talked to an employee who was in the building when the fire started.
And that's when I noticed smoke coming from the roof.
Tyler Bellamy was next door to the building that houses the Just Plain Fancy Boutique, as well as 2 apartments, when he says he realized it was on fire. Bellamy says that's when he started banging on all the doors to the building.
Trying to just make sure everybody got out because the smoke was pouring out pretty heavy.
Hannah Curtis was working inside the boutique when the smoke started to cloud the inside. Curtis says there have been electrical issues lately, but she never expected this to happen.
I've never had to call 911 before, so I was just freaking out. I don't know, it was scary.
As emergency crews were on their way, Curtis says many people who were driving by stopped and immediately began to see if anyone needed help. Many of those people also running inside the building to help salvage some of the store's items.
There was like so many people that stopped and were trying to help and stuff, and I think they eventually told them, like, you cannot go in no more, like you will go to jail if you go in anymore.
Something goes wrong, everybody wants to be there for everybody.
Now this is what the building looks like several hours after this fire was put out, and firefighters tell me the building is likely a complete loss.
It is a big fire for Stanton, and this is a very old building. They say it's approximately 100 years old. I know when I was a young man, it's here.
In Stanton,
That's the first thing, make sure all lives are safe. You know, belongings, you can always replace that.
Monique Blair, WKYT.
Everybody was able to make it out of the building safely. Firefighters say the fire was probably caused by some kind of electrical malfunction.
Governor Bevin has vetoed some bills passed on the last day of the legislative session. Among them, a bill that would create a new Kentucky driver's license to comply with the new federal security standards in the Real ID Act. The governor had said he'd supported the new license, but changed his mind after seeing what he called tremendous opposition to the bill. He also vetoed a bill that would have given some high school graduates free community college tuition this fall. The program will now have to wait until next year. House Speaker Greg Stumbo reacted to the veto by saying, quote, "No forward-thinking governor would have acted in this way." The governor also vetoed an item in the state budget that would make more children eligible for public preschool programs. He said the state could not afford it. And yesterday, former Governor Steve Beshear fired back at Governor Bevin.
Bevin had accused Beshear of wrongdoing during his time in office. Last week, Governor Bevin said that he had hired a private law firm to investigate the Beshear administration. Well, during a news conference in Frankfort yesterday morning, Beshear said the governor has declared war on his family. He also claimed Governor Bevin bullied some Democratic legislators into switching parties and is unethically raising money to cover campaign debt.
Matt Bevin doesn't give me any choice because he started this food fight that he enjoys instead of governing.
Beshear also released his tax returns from his final year in office yesterday. It shows that he and his wife earned more than $350,000 in 2015 from salary, investments, rental income, and Social Security benefits. He criticized Governor Bevin for not releasing his tax returns. Governor Bevin is out of the country on an economic development trip, but in a statement he said Beshear is just trying to protect what's left of his legacy. And he called all of Beshear's statements yesterday baseless accusations. Kentucky Republican Party leaders said about the same.
Could provide no examples, no evidence, no proof. This is purely a desperate man trying to cling to what is left of his public legacy.
Republicans also criticized Beshear's decision to hold his news conference while Governor Bevin was out of the state. But Beshear said he didn't know the governor was traveling when he scheduled it.
2 Harlan County grandparents are facing charges. Police say their 5-year-old grandson walked away from their home with a bottle of pills. Loyal police say the child had a bottle of melatonin, which is used for sleep support. They say the child showed up at a nearby home and the people there took him to the police department.
There was supposed to have been 120 pills in that bottle. When we done the pill count, there was 117. The child had told them that he had took one, that his granny had given him one to help him take a nap.
Police arrested the grandparents Fred and Shelley Jones. They're charged with wanton endangerment and endangering the welfare of a minor. Police say the couple had been caring for the boy. The grandparents declined to talk to us from jail yesterday. New this morning, police say 2 men robbed a Jessamine County Dairy Queen last night. They say at about 10 o'clock, 2 masked men entered the Nicholasville Dairy Queen on Main Street. One man had a gun, and the 2 demanded money from the employees. Police say 1 employee was hit in the head with the gun, but his injuries were minor. The 2 men took off on foot with cash and 2 cell phones.
An Eastern Kentucky attorney who's accused in a massive disability benefit scheme wants his trial to be delayed. Eric C. Kahn is scheduled to go on trial in federal court in June, but in a motion filed by his attorneys, they're also attorneys for 2 other defendants. They're asking for a delay. Prosecutors said in court filings they don't oppose the motion because the case is complex. A judge has not ruled on the motion. Kahn, Judge David Daugherty, and Dr. Alfred Adkins are all accused of working together to get $600 million out of the government. The state Supreme Court has heard arguments in the case of a Kentucky judge executive who is accused of election fraud. Attorneys for Magoffin County Judge Executive Charles Doc Harden argued there is no proof that he bought votes in the 2014 election. His challenger that year, John Montgomery, made the fraud claims in a lawsuit. It could be months before the High Court makes a ruling. Good to have you along. WKYT this morning just getting started. 4:40 now, bright and early on your Thursday.
It is early, and brighten up these rainy days by adding some flowers to your dining room decor. Moms every day will have more ways to make creative table centerpieces when we come back on WKYT this morning.
Believe it or not, more storms in the forecast for today. We're going to be focusing in on tomorrow. That's your driest day, because then there come more storms for your weekend. Very active forecast still. I'll have that coming up next.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Still have some storms out there early this morning as that front is still around us. So as long as it's around us, nothing's going to change. One storm after another, and we're adding to that rainfall deficit that's helping us out. But it's throwing down tremendous amounts of rain, which is giving us some high water issues in some spots. Right now, Junction City, as you work your way 127 and head northbound into Danville, we're seeing some rain right now. Perryville, go down 68, and that'll take you into Lebanon. Lebanon, Bradfordsville there in Marion County, that's really heavy rain right there, and also a lot of lightning too. You could get some pea-sized hail out of this, as we are seeing that on some of our trackers. So just keep in mind, as you're traveling 68, if you're about to take off early this morning, that is going to be a sloppy go at it this morning with a lot of lightning outside. That's a strong storm right now. Good news here is it's not any no severe weather out and about. This is heading toward Harrodsburg and also Danville. You guys are next in line as you travel that 127 corridor. Lancaster, Nicholasville heads up. Looks like it should either move through you guys or just to the south. And we still have some more storms down toward the southeast too. As you're rolling through London at this moment, very heavy downpours heading toward Manchester. And just north of Manchester too, as you slide up 421 in northern Clay County, that's going to be a wet go at it this morning too. Also a few rumbles of thunder as you work your way back toward, say, Buckhorn, and then make your way just to the north and east of Hayden and Leslie County. That's sliding over to Hazard. Hazard, you have about 20 minutes before you get a heavy downpour and a lot of lightning out of that one too. 60 degrees right now in Frankfort. There is, we'll have some foggy spots here and there. You just got to keep that in mind. I mean, really, it was very dense when I pulled out of my driveway this morning, but then I got into the downtown area and there wasn't really all that much. So it kind of depends on where you are. That's why we're not seeing a fog advisory in effect. We go through the day, and remember, through the day, today's a lesser opportunity to actually see some storms. It's at 40% as opposed to 60 and 70% nonetheless. We're still talking about storms, right? Then we get a big break on Friday. Friday, there's no chance of rain. Then we head toward your Saturday and Sunday, and here comes some more storms moving on in. We've got the Rolex 3-day event out at the Kentucky Horse Park, expecting roughly 90,000 people to show up throughout that process, throughout the 4 days. I mean, that's a lot of people. So if you're heading out there, keep in mind Saturday and Sunday look pretty rainy, and also a few rumbles of thunder sliding back in the forecast. But good news here is a lot of that's indoors. So people are still going to go to that awesome event. We had them in here yesterday talking about that. Your 7-day forecast, few storms here and there for today. And we'll look toward Friday. Great chance to actually stay dry, knock out some plans, probably catch up on some of those ball games. Then Saturday and Sunday, here comes some storms back in the forecast, guys. And that takes us off into next week. Much cooler conditions next week. Will actually be below average in the forecast. So it looks like we're going to see some changes next week. But guys, we've had one storm after another. We're going to have another couple of storms roll through this morning, and then this afternoon. Still about 40% chance of rain.
Well, not too bad.
Not bad. Not bad.
Yes.
April showers,
that's
right?
right.
That sunshine was nice, though, last week, wasn't it?
Yes. Still thinking about that.
Keep all that in mind, right? And, the saying is that April showers bring those May flowers, right?
And with those May flowers just around the corner, you can put them to good use. Moms Every Day have some tips on how to liven up your dining room table with displays.
Sometimes you get in a rut. You set the table the same way all the time. Well, today we have some good ideas for you. I'm in San Diego with Maria Villalobos, and thank you for having us here.
Welcome to San Diego.
Yeah. So, beautiful table. How many can you seat right here?
14.
14 comfortably.
I had the table custom made, and 14 people sit here. And I love tablescapes. They evoke something to your guests right away. But I get into a rut and I sort of set the table the same way all the time. So that's where I call my friend Mary Ann, who's an interior decorator, and I tell her, with the things that I own, please do 5 different tablescapes for me. And then I take pictures and then I remember what they look like.
I always like to bring in flowers or anything from outside. You can see in some of the arrangements there are kumquats that were right off of a tree. So you can use things that you have around you. You don't necessarily have to buy them.
And fun containers. Is that a wine glass?
It is. It is a wine glass.
bottle.
So this is also a reusable piece. So you didn't even have to purchase it. You just kind of have to get creative and use the things around you. And you might be going and looking in your own cabinets and seeing things in a way you didn't see them before.
Great ideas. Thank you, Mary Ann.
You're welcome.
For these tips and more, just go to WKYT.com and click on Moms Every Day.
And all the latest news and, of course, updated weather, always available right there as well, wherever you are. Just check our website. 4:48 the time on WKYT this morning. A lot more news coming up on your Thursday.
The University of Kentucky fraternity has been suspended for 5 years after university leaders say they found evidence of hazing. More on the complaint filed against Phi Kappa Psi when we come back.
Hey, good morning. Welcome back in. WKYT this morning, up and at it, and hopefully you're ready for a great day. It's 4:51 right now. Tennessee Governor Bill Haslam has signed a bill that allows mental health counselors to refuse to treat patients based on religious beliefs.
Supporters say the bill protects the rights of therapists, but the American Counseling Association called it an unprecedented attack on the counseling profession. Opponents also say it's part of a wave of bills around the country legalizing discrimination against gays. A University of Kentucky fraternity has been suspended for 5 years. UK leaders say they found evidence of hazing. A complaint filed against Phi Kappa Psi claimed the fraternity forced students to drink alcohol until they threw up, then exercise next to it. It also claims students suffered sleep deprivation and humiliation. UK leaders say the fraternity cooperated with their investigation, and the university also says members of the fraternity have to clear out of the fraternity house in the next few weeks. But UK leaders wouldn't comment on any punishments for certain students.
If there has been an allegation that an individual student has violated the student code of conduct, that just speaking generally, that gets reviewed and that is handled within the context of our student code of conduct.
The fraternity has been suspended from campus until 2021. At that time, the fraternity can reapply to be allowed back on campus.
Ford announced it is recalling more than 200,000 vehicles. The company wants to fix a transmission issue. Ford leaders say automatic transmissions in those vehicles can suddenly downshift to first gear. The recall covers the 2011 and 2012 F-150, as well as the 2012 Expedition, Mustang, and Lincoln Navigator. Ford says the problem has not caused any injuries, at least at this point. Well, coming up, we'll have a look at some of the stories our news team is working on for you this morning.
We'll also have another look at your morning forecast. That's coming up.
Hey, it's 4:56. Good morning to you on WKYT this morning. We're busy right now. Our news team out there getting lots of stories together.
Yeah, it's time to take a look at some of those stories we're working on.
A Lexington family woke up unexpectedly this morning after a large crash to find that their house had been hit by a car. WKYT's Caitlin Sentner will have more from the family members. That's coming up in our next half hour.
The governor vetoed several bills last night, one of which was a bill that would create a new Kentucky driver's license. WKYT's Mark Barber will be at our live desk this morning with more on some of the governor's other vetoes coming up in the next half hour.
You'll notice fog the very first thing this morning when you head out, and we're, of course, anticipating another round of showers. Let's check in. Meteorologist Micah Harris is here.
Yeah, and unless you're just to the southwest, everybody else dealing with the fog, but look at this storm down toward the southwest. It's rolling through Marion County. A lot of lightning within this is waking up plenty of us early this morning. Good news here is we're not seeing severe weather out of this. Not as of right now. We're going to have to watch this one very closely because that is a strong thunderstorm rolling up 68, about to head right into Danville and Boyle County, Junction City, Perryville. Yeah, heads up. Here it comes because you're already seeing stuff right now. You're going to see the strongest part here in about 5 minutes.